3 days swiftly passed as everyone waited. Xiao Yan's group did not head out during these 3 days. Lin Xiao and the others did not appear in front of them again, likely due to being reprimanded by Elder Gu Sun. However, Xiao Yan's group understood that such a method would not solve the problem. Of course, Xiao Yan was not really concerned about such trouble. Ever since that person from the Hall of Souls called Hunya had appeared, his focus had basically been transferred to this person. From the words that Hunya had said, Xiao Yan was aware that this person likely possessed some status within the Hun clan. After all, he possessed an ancestor who was strong. It was likely that Hunya also possesses a strong background within that Hun clan. Otherwise, he would not have two 7-star Do Zun experts as guards beside him. An expert of this strength would hold the position of a Tianzuan within the Hall of Souls. An ordinary person would not be able to command them. The words Hunya had said also hinted at the mystery behind the death of his ancestor Xiao Xian. It seemed that he was surrounded and attacked by many experts. This ancestor of Hunya was one of them. These matters occurred far too long ago. It was impossible to investigate them. Since this fellow had given him such murderous intent, there was nothing wrong with placing this matter on this fellow. Xiao Yan could not see through the strength of Hunya. It was likely that he possessed some special method to hide his strength. Based on Xiao Yan's guess, he was definitely quite strong. That faint sense of danger was not something an ordinary person could give him. Although Xiao Yan was a little afraid of this person, it did not hinder the murderous intent within his heart. As long as this person remained in the Do Zun class, the current Xiao Yan possessed the qualification to make him feel regret. The Gu sacred city became unusually lively when the morning sun on the 3rd day rained down. Today was the day that the door to the Gu realm would open. Most of the people present were curious about this mysterious place. Not many people in this world possessed supernatural people to create a realm. While wave after wave of noise was being emitted from the city, Xiao Yan's group was ready to leave. They exited the manor, followed the human flow, and swiftly headed to the middle of the city. There was an extremely enormous lake in the middle of the Gu sacred city. The lake was unusually clear. One was unable to see the other edge with a glance. That kind of depth caused people to feel creeped out. At this moment, the surroundings of the lake were occupied by many human figures. Even the top of the surrounding buildings had many figures on them. Many gazes gathered on the clear lake. Numerous people wearing armor were standing tall on the lake. A powerful aura spread, causing no one to be bold enough to step onto the lake. Everyone, the Gu realm will open soon. The area within the Gu realm is extremely vast. It is unavoidable to lose your way if you randomly roam around. Should you end up barging into some spatial cracks, it is likely that you will end up dying in empty space. Therefore, I hope that everyone will not randomly roam around after entering. Elder Gu Sun, whom Xiao Yan's group had met yesterday, was standing in the middle of the lake. He was crying out in a loud and clear voice. There will be someone to receive you after entering the Gu realm. After which, they will send everyone to the central area of the Gu realm, the Gu sacred mountain range. There are also the Gu clan descendant citizens within the Gu realm. I hope that everyone will not disturb them. Otherwise, you might be blacklisted by our Gu clan. Is everyone clear? Some courteous replies were emitted from outside of the lake after Gu Sun's words were heard. Gu clan descendant citizen? Xiao Yan was slightly startled when he heard this term. The Gu clan descendant citizen is the lowest level within the Gu clan, but it is also the most important level. After multiplying for a countless number of years, there are quite a number of Gu clan descendant citizens within the Gu realm. All of them possess the Dodi bloodline within their bodies. However, this bloodline is insignificant. Of course, some accidents or variations occur that result in the strength of their bloodline becoming stronger. Once these special descendant citizens are discovered, their statuses soar as they become a true member of the Gu clan. They will enjoy an incomparable honor. Tian Huazunjia smiled as he explained. A countless amount of new blood. No wonder the Gu clan hasn't declined over time. Xiao Yin nodded. With such a large amount of descendant citizens, no wonder the Gu clan has an endless number of young geniuses. They are ultimate geniuses that were selected from 100,000 or even 1,000,000 people. Tian Huazunjia smiled and nodded. While the two were conversing, waves of ripples had suddenly appeared on the clam lake. Everyone sensed an extremely frightening spatial fluctuation spreading from the space above the lake. Chi. An extremely bright light pillar suddenly shot out when this kind of frightening spatial ripple had reached its peak. It connected with the energy of the city. Rumble. A thunder-like sound was suddenly emitted from the space above the ripple when the two connected. Space split apart in front of numerous shocked eyes. A moment later, a large door that led into the unknown deeps of space appeared in front of the many eyes present. The spatial door that leads to the Gu realm has been opened. Everyone, please enter. Gu Sun smiled as he looked at the enormous spatial door. After which, he spoke in a loud and clear voice. Gu Sun's words had just sounded when some figures around flashed. They rushed over and appeared in front of the spatial door. After curiously observing it, some skilled and bold individuals took the lead. They felt very assured when it came to the Gu clan and were not worried that the Gu clan would do anything to them. With someone taking the lead, a commotion occurred in the crowd behind. Everyone began to rush toward the spatial door one after another. Even when faced with such a large scale, the spatial door appeared like a bottomless pit. No matter how many people squeezed in, it did not ripple even a little. Let's get moving. Xiao Yin smiled when he saw that there was no unusual signs on the spatial door. He took the lead to walk toward the lake. His foot stepped on the water, and he headed to the spatial door. The little fairy doctor and the others followed close behind. The edges of the spatial door were heavily guarded by the warriors of the Black Submerged Army. Xiao Yin saw Ling Quan and the second commander, Lin Xiao, who had revealed himself back then, at the leader's spot. He did not see the third commander, Yang Hao. It was likely that he was still recuperating. After all, Xiao Yan's attacks had been quite heavy. Lin Xiao narrowed both of his eyes when he saw Xiao Yan's group walking over. He glanced at Elder Gu Sun, who was busy. After which, his foot gently took a step to the left and coincidentally blocked the path in front of Xiao Yan's group. Xiao Yan acted as though he did not see this roadblock. His feet continued to walk along the route that he had taken earlier. Finally, the bodies of the two gently collided together. Bang! A slight sound was quietly emitted the moment the collision occurred. The lake water under their feet suddenly formed many intense circular waves. However, the force which both people used was perfectly controlled. Hence, this ferocious collision did not stir much of a commotion. Bang! Xiao Yin was without expression. His shoulder rapidly shook in a strange manner. Wave after wave of force came one after another with lightning-like speed and continuously collided with Lin Xiao's shoulder. Groan. Lin Xiao's expression paled as they collided again. The force that was being transmitted from Xiao Yan's body was so hot that it was frightening. Moreover, that heat also hit a chill. The interlacing of the two immediately caused his shoulder to become numb. A muffled moan was emitted from his throat as his feet staggered back 3 steps on the surface of the lake. That final step even caused his foot to fall into the lake. Clearly, this second commander of the Black Submerged Army was unable to gain an advantage in this collision. Xiao Yan's expression was clam. He glanced at Lin Xiao's ugly expression but did not say anything. He once again stepped forward and headed toward the spatial gate. Xiao Yan, you should not be arrogant. There will naturally be someone to deal with you within the Gu realm. I will wait for you to climb out like a dead dog. Xiao Yan's act of ignoring him caused the veins on Lin Xiao's head to bulge. He finally clenched his teeth the moment that Xiao Yan was about to enter the spatial door. A low and sinister voice was transmitted into Xiao Yan's ears. You worry too much, Second Commander. You should take care of yourself first. Xiao Yan's body paused, and he indifferently smirked, after which he did not remain any longer. He stepped into the spatial door. The space rippled, and he quickly disappeared. Groan. Lin Xiao once again moaned when Xiao Yan disappeared. Immediately, a trace of blood seeped from the corner of his mouth in front of the stunned eyes of some people from the black, submerged army. Bastard! Lin Xiao's expression was gloomy. Do Qi surged to his right shoulder, after which he suddenly spread his palm. A purple-brown flame mixed with a dense white color was shot out of his palm. It was shot into the lake, which emitted an extremely dense white fog and a sizzling sound. This flame was naturally something that Xiao Yan had inserted into Lin Xiao's body when they had exchanged blows earlier. However, Lin Xiao had been unwilling to show weakness in front of Xiao Yan earlier. It was due to this that he forcefully endured it. Nevertheless, he did not expect that forcefully enduring these frightening flames to cause such a degree of destruction within his body. Xiao Yan, I have underestimated you. However, it is not your turn as a bastard of a wasted clan to act arrogantly in my Gu realm. There will naturally be someone to deal with you in the Gu realm. I will wait here for when you climb out like a dead dog. Young miss isn't someone that a person as lowly as you can desire. Clouds floated through an endless azure blue sky. Occasionally, a breeze would blow, causing a green wave to stretch into the horizon on the grassland below. Qi. An intense fluctuation was suddenly being emitted in the sky, and an enormous dark black spatial door strange appeared out of nowhere. Soon after it appeared, numerous figures began to slowly materialize from it. They stood in this foreign place. Is this the Gu clan? What dense natural energy! It is at least a couple of times greater than the outside world. It is indeed a level that only an elite Doshun can reach. This supernatural power is really unbelievable. Numerous exclamations gradually spread following the appearance of these human figures. While everyone was exclaiming, Xiao Yan's group also walked out of the spatial door. They sensed the dense energy and surprise flashed across their faces. What a powerful natural energy! If one trains here, one's progress will be twice as fast as the outside world. This Gu clan is not only blessed in terms of training talent, they also possess such blessed land. It is not without reason that they are strong. Xiao Yan inhaled a breath of air and exclaimed, "This kind of opening of a realm is like creating another world. Although its size is not as large as the Dochi continent, this is the reason that the natural energy gathers here better. One would be able to obtain twice the results with half the effort when it comes to training." Tian Huazunjia also nodded and reasoned. Bang! While Xiao Yan was conversing with Tian Huazunjia, the sound of muffled thunder suddenly reverberated in the distant sky. Everyone saw large, thick clouds surging toward them from all directions. Those are... Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes and observed the dark clouds. A moment later, his eyes suddenly shrank. Flying battleships? When Xiao Yan discovered those dark clouds, some other sharp-eyed individuals had also discovered them, and numerous exclamations were emitted. The dark clouds were formed by 10 flying battleships in the sky and gathered around the battleships. Looking from a distance, it appeared as though the battleships were riding the dark clouds. They were accompanied by thunderbolts as they arrived. This appearance was spectacular. It is indeed worthy of being the Gu clan. This grandness is something that few factions in the Central Plains can compare with. Xiao Yan softly sighed as he watched the battleships swiftly fly over. Rumble. The dark clouds were accompanied by thunderbolts as they arrived, after which they slowly stopped in the sky. An elderly voice was transmitted from the battleships. "Ha ha, all guests, please board the ships." After the elder's voice sounded, one could see the lingering dark clouds suddenly part and form a gap. The end of the gap reached the battleships. Seeing this, some people took the lead to move after hesitating for a moment. They rushed onto a large battleship. Xiao Yan's group waited for a moment and then followed after seeing no unusual changes. Xiao Yan's group only realized the enormous size of the battleships after boarding one. A person appeared exceptionally small when standing on it. One could see warriors from the black submerged army holding long spears all over the battleships. Its defenses were unusually tight. After everyone had entered the battleship, the elder's voice from earlier sounded once again. Soon after, the body of the boat shook. Xiao Yan sensed the surrounding spatial fluctuations grow more intense. He shut his eyes and sensed the surroundings, and surprise quickly filled his face. Shuttling through space. What a mysterious battleship. Haha, this kind of battleship is something that the Gu clan inherited from the ancient times. It is called a space shuttle boat. In terms of its speed, it is likely that even an expert at the peak of the Dozun class would not be able to catch up with it. Unfortunately, such a thing is really too rare now. A laugh was suddenly transmitted from behind Xiao Yan when he was feeling surprised. Xiao Yan turned his head, only to see a white-robed man smiling behind them. On the forehead of this man, a lifelike fire symbol slowly burned. This person was one of the people Xiao Yan had seen in the wine shop back then. "Mister, thank you for the information." The smile of this white-robed man was natural. Xiao Yan could sense that he did not possess any ill thoughts. Xiao Yan also grinned, cupped his hands, and thanked him. "Haha, you are too courteous. I am Huaxian." The white-robed man smiled as he introduced himself. "Xiao Yan." Xiao Yan also replied with a smile. However, Huaxian merely waved his hand as he said, "The pill-gathering champion Xiao Yan." "Haha, I naturally know who you are. Brother Huaxian is likely a member of the Yin clan, right?" Xiao Yan smiled and inquired. Huaxian was unsurprised that Xiao Yan was able to see though his identity. He grinned and nodded before saying, "If one were to talk about it, our two clans did have some relation a long time ago. I wonder if Brother Xiao Yan has come to the Gu realm because of the opening of the Heavenly Tomb?" Heavenly Tomb? Xiao Yan was startled when he heard this term. Huaxian was also stunned when he saw Xiao Yan's reaction. He immediately came to a sudden understanding before saying, "This is my negligence. Ever since Elder Xiao Xian died, the Xiao clan has never come to the Gu realm again. It is likely that some things have been lost during the inheritance. Can Brother Huaxian tell me about this heavenly tomb?" Xiao Yan laughed. "This matter is not some secret to you. Hence, it is fine to tell Brother Xiao Yan about it." Huaxian hesitated for a moment before replying with a smile. "This heavenly tomb is left behind from ancient times. There are quite a number of tombs belonging to various experts there. Among them is the tomb of your ancestor, Xiao Xian." Xiao Yan's heart pounded. It was unexpected that this so-called heavenly tomb was related to his ancestor. One of the reasons that he had come to the Gu realm this time around was to make a trip to the tomb of his ancestor. He might be able to obtain something there. The heavenly tomb is extremely mysterious. It possesses the energy imprints of many experts from the ancient times, and with the flow of time, these imprints have transformed into their appearances from when they were alive. As long as one defeats them, one will be able to obtain the energy imprint and absorb it to raise one's strength. Huaxian laughed. It should be known that these energy imprints are extraordinary. They are equivalent to a true high-tier medicinal pill. Moreover, they are the type one can continuously consume without having its effects diminish by much. Of course, the most important thing is that time within the heavenly tomb flows slower than the outside world. 5 days within the heavenly tomb is equivalent to 1 day in the outside world. What? Even with Xiao Yan's calmness, he was involuntarily startled when he heard these words. This world actually possessed such a mysterious place? 5 days inside it was equivalent to 1 day outside? Would that mean only 6 days would pass in the outside world if one stayed for a month inside of it? If one stayed 1 year inside it, then only 2 months would have passed? If someone trained for 100 years inside, would that person not become an ultimate expert when he came out? With this kind of excess time, even the most stupid fool would be able to obtain a great achievement. Haha, the heavenly tomb is mysterious. However, there is also a limit. This thing will open once every 20 years. One is able to stay 3 years within it at any one time, which is equivalent about half a year in the outside world. Huaxian laughed. Of course, only the clan members from the 8 ancient clans qualify to enter the heavenly tomb. Other people will not possess such a qualification. Putting it this way, Brother Xiao Yin is also able to enter it. The Xiao clan has already fallen, but I can still enter? Xiao Yin narrowed his eyes. After hearing Huaxian put it this way, the heavenly tomb was making him excited. Staying inside for 3 years would be enough for him to do many things. The thing that he felt he lacked the most now was time. These are the rules. Regardless of how down and out the Xiao clan is, it was once one of the 8 clans. Of course, you should also understand that you will ultimately meet some trouble. However, given Brother Xiao Yan's strength, you should be able to resolve these troubles. Huaxian spread his hands as he spoke. Xiao Yan quietly nodded, after which he cupped his hands to Huaxian and said, Brother Huaxian, thank you for your information. Haha, this is a small matter. If you really enter the heavenly tomb when the time comes, I might need to cooperate with you. Some of the other clans have a grudge with my Yin clan. It is always good to have an additional friend. Huaxian smiled as he spoke. If Xiao Yin was an ordinary person, he would naturally not take the initiative to come forward. However, Xiao Yin was not only a member of the Xiao clan, he also possessed a great strength. These people were worth befriending. Xiao Yin smiled and nodded. He naturally understood these logic. This Huaxian had perhaps only told him these secrets because of his strength. However, this was an ordinary occurrence. If he was in Huaxian's shoes, he would also not reveal secrets to people who were not related to them. Additionally, you should pay more attention to the people from the Hun clan and the Yao clan. There is no need to talk much about the Hun clan. Your Xiao clan has been enemies since long ago. The fall of the Xiao clan back then is definitely related to them. As for the Yao clan, it is due to your teacher Yao Chun. Haha, speaking of which, I did not expect Elder Yao Chun to be someone from the Yao clan. This is something that my clan's elders only mentioned to me while on this trip. Huaxian laughed. If I have guessed correctly, the people the Yao clan have dispatched this time around should be Yao Xingji, who is called human medicine within the Yao clan. These members of the Yao clan do not think highly of the alchemists in the outside world. Additionally, you are a disciple of Elder Yao Chun, whom the Yao clan abandoned back then, and you are rumored to be the strongest alchemist of the younger generation within the Central Plains. Given that fellow's character, he will definitely embarrass you if the both of you meet. Human medicine, Yao Xingji, a strange title, a strange name. Xiao Yin repeated the names in his mouth, after which he shook his head. Just hearing the names of these fellows already caused Xiao Yin to dislike him. Although his names are strange, it is rumored that he is a Tier 8 alchemist. His actual strength is not inferior to you. You should be careful if you meet him. Huaxian reminded. Xiao Yin nodded. The 8th tier was not a bad level. Hopefully, this person would not offend him. Otherwise, he would let them know that even the disciple of someone abandoned by the Yao clan was stronger than their so-called core clan members. The indignity that teacher had suffered shall be returned by this disciple on behalf of his elderly self. Huaxian bade Xiao Yin farewell and left after chatting with for a while. Xiao Yan's face revealed an expression of contemplation as he studied Huaxian's back from the side. It was obvious that this Huaxian was here to express goodwill. Perhaps part of the reason was because of his current strength, but this was not completely the case. After all, the former was a member of the Yin clan. Moreover, the current Yin clan was not as dilapidated as the Xiao clan. This person is not simple. Even I am unable to see through his strength. He is indeed worthy of being from one of the 8 ancient clan, appearing mysterious and unfathomable. Tian Huazunjia and the others, who had withdrawn to the side, finally came over and exclaimed after seeing Huaxian leave. Xiao Yin nodded. If he had guessed correctly, the strength of Huaxian should be that of a 7th star Do Zun or stronger. Otherwise, he would not have been able to hide his strength from Tian Huazunjia, whose strength had reached that of a 6-star Do Zun. However, if one were to really talk about being mysterious, Xiao Yin still felt that the red-clothed lady was even more unfathomable. These ancient clans were indeed extraordinary. Fortunately, from the actions of Huaxian, the Yin clan was at least relatively friendlier. It will require half a day to travel from here to the Gu sacred mountain range of the Gu realm. We can only rest on the battleship during this time. Let's go. Xiao Yin softly laughed, after which he led everyone to the other side of the battleship. This battleship was extremely large. However, its defenses were exceptionally tight. They came across fully armed warriors of the Black Submerged Army every few steps they took. This caused Xiao Yin to feel slightly surprised. It was likely that such a lineup would not be needed if they were merely here to receive this group. It seems that the Gu clan are worried about the people who have entered the Gu clan, but it is only expected. The energy of this Gu realm is so dense. If one stayed here to train, one would train much quicker than in the outside world. Some people with ulterior motives might secretly find a place to hide and train. Xiao Yin pondered the thought. The conduct of the Gu clan was really watertight. Following Xiao Yan's group's gradual advancement, they slowly arrived at a spot near the head of the battleship. There were much fewer people here compared to other places. However, the defenses around this area were not weak at all. Xiao Yin seemed to lack interest once he walked to the head of the battleship. He was about to turn around and leave when his eyes suddenly paused on the front of the ship. There was a long-haired man with brilliant clothes seated there. A small wooden table had been set up in front of him. 2 clear teacups had been placed on it. Xiao Yin narrowed his eyes as he stared at this back, after which he turned around and left without saying anything. He could sense the vast and mighty aura that was vaguely spreading from this person's body. Moreover, he did not like this kind of pretense. Friend from the Xiao clan, since you are here, please take a seat. However, Xiao Yin had just turned around when a faint laugh was transmitted into his ear, causing him to stop. Xiao Yan's expression was calm. His eyes exchanged glances with the little fairy doctor's group, but did not leave. Turning around, he walked toward that man and sat down opposite him. He raised his eyes and faintly inquired, "Someone from the Gu clan?" The appearance of this long-haired man was not handsome. It could even be called ordinary. However, it gave one a mysterious, convincing feeling. "Haha, I am Gu Zhen." The long-haired man laughed. Xiao Yin quietly nodded. His eyes swept across those surrounding warriors of the Black Submerged Army and discovered that the eyes of these people contained a respect when they looked at this person. This respect, which originated from their hearts, was something that did not appear even when they were facing the second commander Lin Xiao. Black Submerged Army's first commander? Xiao Yin was quiet for a moment before he softly asked. The hand the long-haired man used to lift his teacup shook upon hearing these words. A circular ripple spread within the teacup as he laughed. "You are indeed worthy of being a member of the Xiao clan. Are you waiting here in order to help Ling Quan's group get back their faces?" Lin Dong asked without expression. "Haha, those few little fellows have irritable characters and poor restraint. By letting them experience what it means by there is always someone greater, they will learn to withdraw some of their haughtiness. Moreover, they would not dare to come and look for me for something like helping them get back their face." Gu Zhen laughed. Xiao Yin stared at Gu Zhen in front of him. This person was quite gentle. This kind of light and gentle control was something that Xiao Yin had seen for the first time among the younger generation. Do you know why there are so many black submerged army warriors guarding this battleship? Gu Zhan was unconcerned about Xiao Yan's focus as he suddenly asked a question. You are worried about people remaining in the Gu realm, right? Xiao Yan randomly replied. This is only part of the reason. There are a large number of descendant citizens inside the Gu realm. They are the foundation of the Gu clan and are also the most important level within the Gu clan. Their bodies possess the Dodi bloodline. Although this amount is so thin that it is negligible, occasionally some variations form. These people will become the new blood of the Gu clan. Of course, the reason that they possess such a chance to evolve is because of the Dodi bloodline existing within their bodies, Gu Zhan softly said. However, this kind of bloodline is extremely faint. It could easily be suppressed. The method to overlay this bloodline is very easy. As long as one weds an outsider, the Gu clan values the Dodi bloodline. Therefore, we are worried that someone from outside the clan will cause this bloodline strength to disappear. As a result, we have taken precautions against anyone remaining in the Gu realm for even a short period of time. Gu Zhan's words paused when he said this. He looked at Xiao Yin and said, This is the case for an ordinary descendant citizen, and it is also the case for the core members of the Gu clan. Within the rules of my Gu clan, there is a clear rule that one is not allowed to wed outside of the clan. You are likely aware of what I wish to convey, right? Xiao Yan's expression remained calm. He softly said, I know, but it is still useless against me. These few sentences of mine naturally do not hold the hope of getting you to abandon your intentions. However, you should also be aware of just how greatly the Gu clan values the Dodi bloodline. In order to ensure that the bloodline continues on, it is very difficult for there to be anything between you and the young miss. Gu Zhan slowly placed his teacup down and said, One should know when to withdraw in a difficult situation no matter what one can do. Otherwise, it is likely that it will be good for no one. This is not a threat, but a reminder. If you really like young miss, you should not drag her down. The current Xiao clan has completely declined. Xiao Yin gently rotated the storage ring on his finger. A moment later, he suddenly laughed. Is the Dodi bloodline really that powerful? Gu Zhan was stunned when he heard Xiao Yan's words. He immediately smiled and replied, Is there even a need to give a reply? These ancient clans are still strong even now. This is the best proof. Xiao Yin smiled but was non-committal. He continued asking, What level must one reach in order to cause the Gu clan to ignore the bloodline? Doshang. Gu Zhan lifted his brow and slowly answered. In that case, I will reach that level, Xiao Yin grinned and responded. This is not a simple matter like opening one's mouth. Remember, I am talking about a doshang. A genuine doshang and not a ban half shang. Gu Zhan frowned and said, My Gu clan has never lacked experts at the peak of the Dozun class. However, they are unable to reach that level even after spending their entire life trying. I am aware that your talent is quite good. However, there are people within my Gu clan who are even more talented than you. Even these people are not confident that they can advance to a doshang. Just how can you be confident that you can achieve it? This is because you are members of the Gu clan while I am not. This is because you people rely on the great strength of the Dodi bloodline while I do not. Xiao Yin smiled as he explained his confidence. As for whether I can reach the doshang class, time will prove everything. The smile on Gu Zhan's face was slowly withdrawn. His eyes stared at the confident face in front of him. A moment later, he finally sighed. I am naturally quite satisfied if you really are confident. However, once you experience the difficulty of advancing to the doshang class, I hope that you will leave young miss because it will be bad for both of you if this continues. Thank you for the reminder. I was able to reach this point today from being a trash of the Xiao clan by relying on not giving up. I am not the least bit afraid of facing the Hun clan. It is the same for the Gu clan. Gu Zhen's face revealed a complicated expression when he heard that laugh beside him, not giving up. These were 3 simple words, but there were not many who could achieve their meaning. Bang! The battleship suddenly shook while Gu Zhen was sighing softly in his heart, and the surrounding spatial fluctuation slowly disappeared. The speed of the boat was also reduced. A lush green mountain range in the distance appeared within one's sight. Have we arrived at the Gu Sacred Mountain Range? Xiao Yan's heart suddenly pounded as the battleship flew closer to the mountain range, which was covered by clouds and fog. His body paused for a moment before he suddenly turned his head. His eyes shot to a mountain in the distance that was covered by clouds. A misty green figure was vaguely present there. Even though they were far apart, Xiao Yan could still sense a familiarity and longing from deep within his bones. 2 pairs of eyes interlaced with each other from across a vast distance. It appeared as though they had solidified. Gu Zhen slowly stood up. He looked at the female deity-like figure on the mountaintop. A complicated smile appeared on his face. During these many years, the only person who could get her to personally come to this place to receive someone was likely this man in front of him. Xiao Yan, there is a great difference in opinions toward you within the Gu clan. Everything will be fine if you can reach the Dosheng class. If you cannot, it is likely that you will meet with many difficulties. Therefore, I hope that you are able to achieve what you have said. Young Mrs. Eyesight should be quite good. Xiao Yan quietly nodded. From his conversation with Gu Zhen, he could sense the pressure Sun Er was facing within the Gu clan. No one can stop me from being together with Sun Er, not even the Gu clan.